Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Glad you're with us. It is Wednesday, December 3rd, right here on Jocks. National Signing Day. For whatever that means. Isn't it odd how this used to be a national holiday? This used to be a day that we just like shut everything down. Fax machines always made their return.
They did. We only had one, too.
This
Not
used to be
multiple.
the day for the
Yeah.
graphics department. Now that's more coaching change season.
Or breaking news, coach is staying.
Yep. Still, the cycle season, the coaching cycle season, graphics department doesn't sleep. They're going nonstop.
The notes department on people's phone, they threatened to take it away. It came close, but that's
The screenshots.
graphics still there.
It's with the time and your battery life on there. So we'll do our best to update you on signing day throughout. It's not our specialty. We don't pretend to know, have the breakdowns on all of the high school players out there. It's we'll have Rodney Nabulsi at 8. He'll give us a little bit of a Georgia/national perspective. I can tell you that St. Francis Academy athlete Wayne Henry has signed with Auburn.
Okay, all right.
I feel like you should have like the Roddy come on down. And whenever we announce one of these kids, you just hit that, come on down. And we'll get that going throughout the day. We will tell you the names. I don't know if, are y'all going to know when we tell you that so-and-so signed? So, just kind of where we are right now. We'll discuss it. We'll talk about it. The college football playoff rankings, if those are not discussed right out of the gate, we get in trouble. So, we will get to those. If the college football playoff happened today, you would get one of your two conference champions at the 12 seed against Oregon. You would have Alabama and Oklahoma as an 8-9 matchup in Norman. What do you think the weather is like in Norman in a couple weeks?
Imagine like this, maybe slightly colder.
That wind. You also get a conference champion against the 6th seed Ole Miss, and then you will get Notre Dame, Texas A&M again. Texas Tech would get the winner of Oregon in that conference champion. Ohio State would get the winner of Bama, Oklahoma. Georgia would get the winner of Ole Miss in the conference champion, and Indiana would get the winner of Notre Dame, Texas A&M. So when we go top to bottom on our college football playoff rankings that were released last night, McElroy, a part of that show, he'll try to join us later today as he's making his way back towards Birmingham. Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech 4, Oregon 5, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Bama, Notre Dame, BYU, Miami. So that puts Texas and Vandy at 13 and 14. Seems to be the two teams that a lot of people kind of now drumming up different ways that they could possibly be able to find their way in. It's unlikely for either. And obviously our Notre Dame Miami discussion doesn't really have to happen as much just yet because they're not side by side. But if Texas Tech were to win this weekend, you would probably imagine that it'll be a number 10 Notre Dame and a number 11 Miami, and a lot of people are going to be upset. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I think Notre Dame's a better football team right now. Here's the problem with it, though. I think you can look at this either way. If you want to go head-to-head, I think head-to-head should matter a lot. Maybe not the only thing, but I think it should be a lot because we can start to play the game of teams that are ranked that lost to teams that are either way down or not in, and what should you do with that? So then the people will put the asterisk with similar record. Or you can look at it and say, well, I think right now they're a better football team. The problem is the committee doesn't usually say either one of those. The committee can't sit up there and say, we think right now Notre Dame's playing better football. Have you noticed that about all these committee chairs over the years? That they can't stop talking?
Yeah. Although Juracek tried his best last night.
Are they contractually obligated to have run-on sentences be a part of what they're going to do? Because I would handle these questions with very short answers. I'm not saying like one-word answers.
Right. Single digit.
But if they ask me, Cole, what? Miami beat Notre Dame. You have Notre Dame ahead. Reese, we think Notre Dame right now is playing better football and at this moment the better football team. To which you would probably say, why? Well, they're more responsible with the ball. They don't turn it over as much. Technique fundamentals seems to be a little bit better to us. More balanced. Don't rely on certain individuals as much. Just cleaner football team. I don't understand why you couldn't do that. It's just we got to go into a lot of different things. We wondered last night, though, what would happen to Ole Miss. Because we thought they were going to go up at least one spot because obviously you had teams in front of them lose. But with the Lane Kiffin situation, how were they going to get hit there? What was that going to look like? Were they going to get dinged by that? They weren't going to go past 8 because obviously, once again, head-to-head, and they have one fewer loss at Oklahoma. Were you surprised that A&M fell below Ole Miss, John?
Ultimately, no, because I think the committee, I don't know if they just were blind to them up until they finally lost, but I think because of the loss, they finally looked at what Texas A&M had done and realized, oh, they kind of had been beating up on the bottom half of the SEC. And while they look good doing it for the most part, they don't really have something that's, oh, hey, you know what? Like, we need to have them up here. Whereas I feel like some teams like Ole Miss, like various other ones have, like, okay, like they can at least point to something like, hey, Ole Miss, you got Oklahoma. Hey, Oregon, Indiana, like you guys are undefeated. Georgia, you guys have only really stumbled once. It felt like A&M didn't really have much to prop themselves up on, so therefore they had to keep kind of dropping them lower until at one point it's like, all right, well, we can't put them below a 2-loss team, so 7 feels about right.
All right, so this is what Hunter Yurachek had to say last night about the Ole Miss situation and Lane Kiffin no longer being their head football coach.
We absolutely did talk about that. One of the principles in our selection protocols is the availability of coach and players. We not only talked about the situation at Ole Miss, but we also talked about the offensive coordinator position at Oregon, the head coaching positions at James Madison, North Texas, and Tulane. Well, I think those coaches are going to be coaching their respective teams. There's obviously a distraction, but what the committee in the end, after discussion, it felt like we don't have any games where Ole Miss does not have their head coach or Oregon potentially has a distracted offensive coordinator, et cetera. And so that really didn't weigh into our consideration this week in how we ranked our teams.
Should we pay attention to this week there? Because I have a feeling this is going to be used at some point. And he completely blew it off there, except for adding this week.
Yeah.
And that's the part I don't think a lot of people will pay attention to. It didn't affect the rankings this week, which is teeing it up for, well, they didn't play last week without their coach. So we didn't ding them.
But also they're not going to play without their coach until the playoff, in theory.
And that would be why you couldn't use that again.
Yeah.
I found it interesting because we've heard them talk about changes with other teams, players not being there. I get it. The players are on the field. They're the ones that play the games. But I'll just say that's not what I expected to hear. I don't know. Maybe the announcement that Charlie Weiss Jr. is coming back was enough. Which, if you didn't hear that, Charlie Weiss Jr. back at Ole Miss to be the offensive coordinator for the playoffs, which is absolutely huge. And if they can find a way to make that happen permanently, it will be massive, not only for Ole Miss, but for Pete Golding, I think. I think it'll allow Pete Golding to do a lot more head coach things and not have to worry about it because that's the system that's been in place. I think they trust one another. They know one another. Be huge. And I think that's a possibility. I don't think this is just a, hey, come back, get us through the playoffs. I think there is a feasible way that they find for him to be the OC moving forward, which would be, I'm not going to say be a massive hit for Lane. It'd be a hit for Lane, but not a massive hit for Lane. I mean, he can go do it if he wants to by himself. But he doesn't have a lot of guys that I think he trusted just hand it to. Charlie was one of those guys. Hunter Yurachek last night, the chair of the College Football Playoff Voting Committee, on why Alabama jumped Notre Dame.
Reese, I will tell you the debate between Alabama and Notre Dame over the past 3 weeks has been one of the strongest debates we've had in the room for the past 2 years that I've been a member of the committee. And I think this week, as we looked at those two teams and how closely they have been over the past 3 weeks, Notre Dame went on the road, had a strong win at Stanford, but Alabama went on the road in a rivalry game. Looked really good, especially in the first half, getting up 17-0, ran the ball well. Auburn came back at them. They had a great gutsy call on 4th and 2 late in the third quarter to get a touchdown, and then got the turnover late in that game. And I think that was enough to change the minds of a couple of committee members to push Alabama up ahead of Notre Dame in this week's ranking.
All right, so there you go. Why Alabama is going to be ahead of Notre Dame in this week's rankings. I'm also interested, and listen, I say interested because I didn't know how this was going to go. I didn't think Alabama played extremely well. I didn't think they looked great against Auburn. I think we forget that's a very average Auburn football team. Defense has done some good things this year, no doubt, and they made life difficult for Alabama at times. But you saw drops, you saw protections, guys turned free runners at the quarterback. Ran the ball a little bit better. Defensively did some good things, didn't contain quarterback, didn't tackle extremely well on the perimeter, did not defend scramble drill well. Some of that movement that we talked about was so great against LSU, that movement worked against Alabama in this game, opened up some run lanes, didn't precisely get back to where you needed to be on defense. So I thought there was a chance that Hunter Yurachek and the committee looked at that and said, we didn't think they were great. But I appreciate them looking at it and say, tough place to play, rivalry game. We respect that, got the win, and therefore we'll move you ahead of Notre Dame. Now, Vanderbilt's a team, like we said a few moments ago, gaining a lot of discussion, a lot of momentum. People trying to figure out a way that maybe they need to be in this playoff. Hunter Yurachek on why Vandy is where they are.
The committee has a great deal of respect for Vanderbilt and what they have achieved, an amazing season, a 10-win season. When you look at their schedule now that Tennessee is no longer ranked, they just don't have a signature win. They've got wins against LSU, Missouri, and Tennessee. Missouri and Tennessee were previously ranked in their poll. They are no longer ranked in their poll. And then the two ranked teams that Vanderbilt has played, Alabama and Texas, I think both of those games in their own way were a little bit different. The Alabama game is probably closer than the score indicates, and the Texas game was probably closer than the score actually indicates because, if you remember, Texas was up in that game 34-10. So I think it's just the lacking that signature win or two that teams like a Texas and a Miami, Utah, teams above them have.
Okay, I have a little bit of a problem with this one. There are portions of this, and I understand. You're running in circles in a lot of this. So to dissect it after the fact, it's a little nitpicky on our part. I'll admit that ahead of time going in. I get it. I understand it. However, to essentially ding a team because of what the score was at some point in time in the game and not what the final score was, not sure I'm okay with that. Specifically when other team came back and was within a score late in said game. Don't like that. Not down with that. Because what you're not doing is dinging one team for allowing those other points in that team to get back in the game.
Correct.
Like I said.
Picking and choosing your narrative.
We are, this thing is operating on a giant hamster wheel. I understand that. And we're just sprinting in place. But there are portions of it that you hear and you just say, wait a second. I don't know if that sounds right. I don't know if I'm okay with that. I'm not sure we can allow that. But, hey, here we are. We have to go with what we have to go with. We have to go with what it sounds like and what this committee is going to tell us. So I don't know. I don't know if we feel good about it, if we feel okay with it. There was further explanation from Hunter Yurachek on why Alabama was where they were versus Notre Dame.
That debate between Notre Dame and Alabama has been one of the fiercest debates for the last 3 weeks, and it really has split our committee room. We've got people that thought highly of Alabama. We all think highly of both of those teams, but some are very much in Alabama's camp, some are very much in Notre Dame's camp. And it's just Alabama in a rivalry game on the road Auburn has been an extremely tough place to play for many teams this year, such as Georgia and Vanderbilt, and the committee gave Alabama a little respect for winning that game, getting out early 17-0. The game got tied again, and Alabama, gutsy call there late in the game to go for it on 4th and 2, and then getting a turnover again late in the game. The committee just felt that was enough of a win, of a metric to push Alabama ahead of Notre Dame.
So now we got haunted Jordan Hare affecting it.
As it should. I'm okay with putting that in as, hey, we understand where this game was. That's a tough place to play. You overcame that. It's kind of all of it, I think. And looking at, like you said, picking and choosing narratives to dissect by us is difficult because so many of these things are going to overlap. So many of these things are going to be involved in different ways, and you can't just it's not cut and dry with a lot of these different talking points. But it does become frustrating when you hear some things discussed one way and another thing discussed other ways. He said last night that it's easier to use head-to-head as a data point if the teams are back-to-back in the rankings. Like, that came out of his mouth last night. How does that work? I need a further explanation on.
Yeah.
You tell me if there's one team between you, the actual game result, guys, there's a team between them. I don't know if we can clarify just how that one really mattered. Oh, they're 10 and 11. Let's talk head to head.
Well, to be fair, head to head means next to each other.
It's
so
fair.
if there's 10 and 12, okay, all right, they're not head to head. Don't need it.
How do you say that? One, surely he meant something a little bit different with that. I can't fathom that was actually a real place he wanted to go, but nonetheless did. So your college football playoff rankings in. We'll get your thoughts on them as well. You tweet in at Mac and Cube. Be a part of the show there. 800-239-9569. You want to get in? You can always join us on the Higginbotham hotline. Don't get caught in the cold. Schedule your system checkup now from a Train Comfort Specialist. Train has been recognized 11 consecutive years as America's most trusted HVAC brand and our exclusive home partners here at Jocks. Visit Train.com to find a comfort specialist near you. Text into the show as well, 205-834-9450. We'll continue talking college football playoff rankings and coaching search news galore after this on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Glad you're with us. Some coaching news. First and foremost, surrounding the Auburn Tigers, DJ Durkin will remain as the defensive coordinator. Vontrell Kings-Williams will also stay on and coach the defensive line. I think it's a good get for Alex Golesh. It keeps some continuity on the staff. There are apparently some guys that said if DJ Durkin's there, they're there. That may have even meant as the head coach, but maybe now as a D coordinator, you have a better chance at roster retainment. So you look at that and say, okay, possibly that's something that is going to allow them to keep more kids on the roster, and they're going to be just a little bit better on that side of the ball, maybe potentially on offense as well. Texas Tech's going to give Joey McGuire a 7-year extension.
Wow. Okay.
$7 million per. Who was Joey McGuire linked to this offseason?
Someone?
No.
Oh, then no one.
Okay. It looks like Kalani Sitake's going to stay at BYU. Did you follow this thing on social media last night?
A little bit, yeah.
You saw the CEO of Crumble delivering cookies to the Penn State football facility?
That's all it took.
If you didn't follow this whole Penn State BYU Kalani Sitake thing on the corporate level, you missed out. There were multiple CEOs of companies going back and forth about how they were going to keep their coach. There were insults, I'll say, thrown out publicly, derogatory tweets about different people. And the second team in the last week, which has publicly stated, well, they didn't say it, it's being reported, they're going to commit $10 to $15 million more to NIL. Now, this was also reported with the LSU job. Ross Dellinger reported this, that LSU is going to have X amount contributed to NIL for Lane Kiffin. Now, tell me where I'm wrong here. Anybody want to call in, tweet it, you let me know, because I could be wrong here. Maybe I'm reading this incorrectly. How is this not those two universities essentially middle fingering the NCAA or the College Sports Commission, whatever we're going to have? Because they're basically saying we're going X amount past revenue sharing. I think we all know stuff's going on.
Oh, right. Kind of has been.
But it's all supposed to go through NIL Go,
right,
et cetera, whatever. And if it's fair market value, how can you say we're going to give this amount? Because we don't know what that is. You don't know what's going to be allowed by NIL Go. It's not even worth us having a conversation over. Really.
No, it's right.
Wake Forest is going to give head coach Jake Dickert an extension. He's been there a year. He went 8-4. He just got an extension.
Yeah, like that's par for the course now.
One of these days, I'm going to be alive for the non-athletic director panic era in college sports.
Yeah, it's the regular season.
I don't even
actually,
think
no, not really. No.
You know what? I'm not going to be alive for that. Cal's working towards naming Tosh Lupoy, Oregon defensive coordinator, its head coach, and North Texas has named Neil Brown, its head coach. That's a good hire for North Texas. Guy's coached at Troy, coached at West Virginia. He's got a lot of coaching experience, has head coaching experience, has a similar offense. So stylistically, some of the personnel will fit. And it's a good get for North Texas as Eric Morris moves over to Oklahoma State. So that's some of your coaching news as to what's going around college football. Not finished, because now you look at Penn State. And it's impossible not to say, what in the world are you doing? Do we go back and Google when James Franklin was the first one fired, if I'm not mistaken. Was there a coach fired before James Franklin this year? I don't recall that there was.
I don't think so.
October the 12th.
Yeah.
What have we been doing? Who are they waiting on? If you want to get rid of James, it's fine. He said the big games, it wasn't happening. He's irritating people in the facility. He's getting on our nerves. Good. Get rid of him. Fine. But you also did not have to do it at that moment. Was there a giant escalator that they missed on October the 14th? Did they save X amount of million there? It doesn't even feel like they have real candidates right now. Unless they just settle for in-house. They don't even have guys lined up to talk about this job. And we thought some of the other schools inside the SEC fumbled their coaching search to an extent. They literally picked up the ball and kicked it in the stands. They said, here, we're out. We're not even going to try this right now. This is Penn State. This is a top what program in college football?
I mean, I'd say about 15, 10.
20?
See, we had people yesterday saying LSU was guaranteed top 5, and that was wrong.
Guaranteed?
So you always have to bump yourself back just like a couple
Right.
slots. I
Right,
feel
that's
like.
it, yeah.
I'm thinking they might not be top 15 anymore.
Ooh.
If LSU's not in the top 5, I think I might be able to get to Penn State not being top 15.
If only they had a longer runway in their airport.
Bus rides.
Mm.
Bus and plane rides.
Yeah.
Can't be a top 15 program if you have to bus to a game after you fly.
But all that ice cream.
I'm not saying that they're not. I'm just saying, and we're not going to lay it all out on air right now, but I would be willing to bet if I sat here, I could probably come up with 14 programs that we all believed are a little bit better than Penn State. Now, historically,
Right.
we can bring up sometimes.
Yeah.
There was a Kajana Carter.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember LeVar Arrington.
there was a Kerry Collins, Bobby Ingram. We had some guys.
Yeah.
But they might not be there right now. Maybe that's why this is happening.
But the thing is, they were just last season. They were one of 4 teams getting ready to play, potentially playing for a national title, and
One of only 12 teams that even got in.
right. So,
Does that make them a top 12 program? Well, this year they're definitely not.
This year, not.
I mean, it's just wild that you can fumble this to the extent that they have, and just not even.
Because it's going to be a settle higher, no matter who it is at this point, for it to have gone this long.
Well, there's nobody you're waiting on.
Right.
So you're down to your what option? 4th, 8th, 12th option, 11th, 10th. I don't know where you are. We've heard 6 or 7 different names that they were potentially serious about. We don't know how far those conversations went, but this just feels bad. It's going to get to a point where you have to go in house, and it's the only way you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as we talked about with some other schools this offseason, if you had to get rid of the guy that was there, this is one of the things with coaching changes that it's really hard for me to grasp. The obsession with keeping people around after coaching changes, I'm not saying I'm totally against it, but the people who feel like it has to happen for so many individuals, when there's an obvious culture problem in the building, why do you want those people back? Now, they might be responsible for 2% of it or 92% of it, but they had some responsibility in where things are, no matter what. But again, I get it. Relationships, landscape, geography, know the whole deal, whatever, you know them. I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all. But the people who are like, you have to go there and do that. This one was one that feels like would be even further down the road of how can you do that if things were so bad there? And maybe it was just one guy that was so bad. I don't know. Was there one position group that was bad? No. Mm-mm. So I don't know how you get there. I don't know how Penn State's here. I don't know where Penn State goes. I really don't. I have no idea. We do know where Auburn went, though. And we'll hear from Alex Golish and begin to discuss not only his hire a little bit further, but also some of the decisions he's making as the Auburn head coach. We'll do that next right here on Jocks. Not even close. 7:34 a.m. Wednesday, December 3rd, right here on Jocks. We mentioned Auburn's new head football coach met the media earlier this week. We didn't listen to a lot of it, didn't discuss a ton of it here on the show. And obviously now is beginning to make some moves. Michael Lundy Foster, offensive lineman from Tallahassee, has committed to Auburn.
Okay.
Signing day. Jason Caldwell will join us at 7:40. Talk Auburn, recruiting. Rodney DeBulce will be with us at 8. Talk some Georgia recruiting, some regional recruiting as well. There seemed to be a ton of flips yesterday. I couldn't even keep up with it after a while, just going back and forth. But this was the new Auburn head football coach discussing the offensive goals for his team.
We're going to be explosive on offense. We're going to play really fast. We're going to challenge teams in every imaginable way. We're going to run the freaking ball. People around here like running the football, and I can respect it. We're going to be explosive. We're going to play really fast, and it's going to be a brand of football that's going to be fun to watch.
Do we record that on an airplane?
Warrior Plus, I don't think, skin for the filter.
Got it. Alex Golish also on defense and special teams goals.
Defensively, we're going to be just as fun to watch. We're going to be aggressive, create explosives, create negatives, create turnovers. We're going to be the most violent freaking team on the football field every single Saturday. We're going to be different on special teams. We're going to create explosives on teams. It's going to be a huge difference in why we win. We're going to outwork, outthink, and outprocess people across the entire country.
And then just this opportunity that he's gotten, his thoughts on where he's allowed to be now as the Auburn head football coach.
I'm humbled, I'm honored, I'm so grateful to be here. This is a dream come true. To be the head football coach at Auburn University, to represent this fan base, I'm beyond grateful for you choosing me, John. I'm going to pay it back tenfold, man. I will give this fan base, the alumni base, the former players, and everybody involved with this university, every single bit of everything I got. I'm grateful, I'm humbled, I appreciate you. And war damn Eagle. Let's rock.
And I will say this, Alex Golish, I think people have gone and searched out other interviews he's done. They've heard his different talking points. They've heard him discuss different things about himself, about his approach. He's beginning to win some fans over. I think there are some fans that are kind of on board with what he's doing and who he is and maybe what he's going to be about. And I think that's a real positive. I don't think a lot of people had an idea, I don't want to say of who he was, but of his background, what he had done, where he had been, what he was about. So from that standpoint, I think it's been a net positive that a lot of Auburn fans have sought him out. Go back to whether it was on Jim Rome or whether it was on a different podcast. They like what they hear. And then you get his press conference and you like some of the things that you hear there. And then you see some of the things that he's done at Tennessee, at South Florida as the head coach. A lot of Auburn fans kind of coming around on this hire. We didn't get a ton of feedback on Monday on where the fan base is. Based on who you've talked to, John, based on who you've heard from, based on what you've seen, where do you think just in general the Auburn fan base is on this Alex Golish hire?
Ultimately, I think a lot of them are happy now. There are a couple of friends of mine who, even before Hugh got let go, this was the guy they wanted. And I think maybe as the season progressed, maybe with Summerall continuing to win and South Florida stumbling once or twice, the eye started batting towards Summerall in that direction. But Golish was always top of mind for them. But then, of course, everyone wanted Lane. And so I think early on, maybe once it initially happened, maybe they kind of felt like they settled. But after hearing it and now hearing what now that Durkin's staying and it looks like everyone seems to be on board. And honestly, the fact that it seemingly came out of nowhere now, whether it fell apart or whatever, but the fact that there wasn't, hey, we've got this guy. Oh, no, we don't. It hadn't felt like Penn State's coaching search. The fact that we didn't hear anything and all of a sudden, hey, this is our guy. It gives, I think, a lot of Auburn fans a fair amount of confidence because, and let's be honest, this does not feel like something Auburn would have done in the past. They would have tripped over themselves or done something. They very well may have, but at least in the public persona, they haven't. They went out, they got their guy, and right now he's fitting the part.
We'll hear from you. 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX. You can text in 205-834-9450. If you had to grade this hire, how would you grade it?
A minus?
I think A minus, B plus for me.
Yeah.
And that's good. How many A hires do we, in every offseason, in every cycle, how many A hires do we have? I don't think it's a ton.
Not many, no.
I think a lot of times when you first hear the hire come in, you're like, oh, but then you kind of, and then maybe you compare it to other hires and you think that that hire was an A. You think that that hire was maybe an A minus, B plus, but then all of a sudden other ones jump in front of it and you say to yourself, well, that's probably, I wouldn't know if I'd have that as an A anymore. So you give us your grade. 800-239-9569. Get you on the Higginbotham hotline. We'll hear from you. We'll talk about what you think about the Auburn hire. If you want to go to other hires as well, as more are being made. The college football coaching carousel, I'm not even going to say is near coming to a close because we got a lot more that look like they're going to be showing up here. We have more openings because some of these coaches took other jobs, and now those jobs are open. Not as high profile, but still more jobs that we're going to be getting to. You might need to get to Game Day Men's Health. If you're feeling on edge, if you're lacking sleep, if you're lacking energy, Game Day Men's Health is here for you. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today. Sign up for your free consultation. You're going to get the free PSA test, free testosterone test, and they're going to give you your baseline health, let you know where you stand, where you are right now, and give you all the options that they can to help you feel better. Weight loss programs, peptides in stock. Open now in Trustville. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today to see what they can do for you. Locations all over Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Auburn, Vestavia. Walt would like to chime in on Auburn's coaching hire. Walt, welcome into the show.
Morning, fellas.
Morning.
I usually catch about 40 minutes of the show on my commute to work every morning. That's the first I've heard of him, giving, and maybe that's his first press conference with is that his first with Auburn?
Yeah, that was his introductory press conference from 2 days ago. Is it Monday?
Yeah, Monday.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. I graduated back in 2013. Obviously a huge, fan. I was at the Final Four last year. I love what the basketball program's been doing. It's been sad. It's been sad watching. I feel like the last 10 years we just haven't had an offense. We've had some great defensive teams. We've had some decent teams, but overall it's just been a lack of excitement. This is exciting. I really like that. Gave me chills. I haven't had chills in so long with anything Auburn football related. So that was really exciting and encouraging. Let's bring some flashy, high-flying, exciting offense back to Auburn. Hopefully it works out with Durkin. I think he's a great coordinator. I think the team trusts him, and I think that was smart to keep him on. So we'll see what happens. But as a massive Auburn fan, I'm excited and can't wait to see what happens.
Well, let me ask you quickly. You don't have to name where you worked, like the name of the place. What industry do you work in? Like, do you go into an office, or do you have your own office, or like a cubicle?
No, I actually have a business partner, and we work in insurance, but we go into homes that have been damaged, fire, water. It's kind of like Servpro, but not Servpro. I'm not going to name the company.
Well, we've got the app out there. We got a lot of online. You can listen a lot of different ways that you don't have to cut us off after 40 minutes. You can stay with us longer if you need to.
I wish I could, guys. I wish I could, but unfortunately, I got a business to run, and that's just it takes too much of my attention. But I do really enjoy the 40 minutes, and then the 40 minutes of Feinbaum I get on the way home.
Well, we appreciate
usually
you.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thanks, Walt. All right, we'll take a break. Come back. Jason Caldwell joins us to talk Auburn recruiting next on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Glad you're with us. It is National Signing Day. So we want to welcome in Jason Caldwell of Inside the Auburn Tigers to discuss where Auburn stands. I felt like there were a couple of flips in the last 2 days, Jason. It's a little bit difficult to keep up with the times. Recruiting, not our expertise on here on the show. We're not afraid to tell people that. Where does this class stand as of today?
Yeah, this is always going to be a smaller class to begin with, and then obviously you have a coaching change and you have some things back and forth. So it's going to be solid, I think, by the end of the day. One of the bigger news is for me anyway is Auburn flipped Deshaun Spencer, Saraland wide receiver. He was going to Duke. It's a guy that we've liked for a couple of years. He's a really talented kid, and so they were able to flip him. Got a couple of kids that were committed to South Florida. One of those is an in-state tight end, Demarcus Broughton from Mary G. in Montgomery, that talked to his coach. He's like, look, he's only played football for 2 years, but he kind of threw out some names that you would expect from tight ends about guys that had done that same path. And I'm like, okay, it makes you stand up a little bit. But I think it's going to be a really good class. Quez Wilkes is one of the headliners, a kid from Wadley that people will get to see. Deshaun Spencer this week as well in the Super 7 in Birmingham. So, good class. It's not going to be one of those that's going to be highly rated, but, for them right now, it's a matter of, kind of filling in some gaps. And then, for a new staff, roster retention is going to be a big part of their first month on the job for sure.
What have you heard about roster retention? Are there some that are kind of on the fence? Are there big names that are seriously considering hitting the transfer portal? What's the latest you have on any news there?
Yeah, it's really quiet because it's been such a whirlwind last 48 hours or so from the time you get to the end of the game at late on Saturday night, new coach on Sunday morning. Obviously, retaining DJ Durkin yesterday and we believe Montrell King Williams as well on that defensive line is going to be a big deal in terms of helping out roster retention on the defensive side of the ball. And there's so many freshmen and sophomores that played such a big role on this defense that obviously that's going to be a starting point. But, then you look offensively and obviously you point to the wide receivers and then Deuce Knight, what it's going to look like for those guys. I think we'll just have to see once they get a chance to take a deep breath and then sit down with the coaching staff. They've had these meetings, but now they'll get a chance to really dive into it once signing day gets done. So I think like most everybody around the country, even guys where you didn't have changes, you're going to have some losses. Can you minimize those if you're Auburn? And obviously you're going to have some additions too because you're going to be able to go to the portal as well. So right now, really quiet, not a whole lot of talk. And we haven't seen a bunch of guys go flood and say, hey, I'm heading to the portal. So I think early on, that's probably a pretty good sign.
When you look at this coaching staff now and what they have to do the rest of the day, is there a recruit or two? Is there a name or two that you're kind of looking at that you still think is possible, but you're not 100% certain they're going to be able to get to sign?
Yeah, I think, can you get back in on Braylon Womack, the 5-star safety that flipped away and went to Mississippi State? That's a home state kid there in the state. But obviously keeping DJ Durkin, and I believe more than likely his position coach as well, and TJ Rushing will be here. Then how does that impact a guy like Braylon Womack, who's been committed for a while? His sister plays softball here at Auburn. And so could that be one that you flip back on signing day? Well, I think that's one worth watching. So that'll really be the biggest one. I think there's a couple other guys that you look, they've been recruiting maybe at South Florida, and you go, hey, we're at Auburn now. Let's see if we can make this thing work. So I think there could be a couple of guys like that, but I would say Braylon Womack's probably the guy that you probably watch for the most. And then, Jace Matthews has already said he's going to wait a couple of days to sign. That's the big wide receiver from Mississippi that's been committed for a while. I think LSU might be the one to watch there, but it may depend on what they do the rest of this day at wide receiver too.
What can you share with us on retaining DJ Durkin, either how those conversations went, how close he potentially was to leaving, that situation from Friday up until yesterday when we found out he was going to stay?
Yeah, I don't know anybody can fully answer it other than DJ Durkin about, like, was he considering leaving? How close was he? I think like most guys, when you think you have a shot at the job, it maybe takes a little while to digest. Going, okay, all right, that didn't happen. Let's take a deep breath, and then let's talk about now what's the next step look like. And I think once that happened, I think they've been really happy in Auburn. Family's been really happy. Obviously, this is a guy that he knows. They haven't worked together, but I think they know each other from their roots in Ohio. And so I think when you start thinking about that and going, look, maybe, and also, like I said, the other one too for me is, does DJ Durkin, is he want to be back in the head coaching realm? And if so, then maybe you say, look, let's digest this, wait and see what's open here in the future as a potential head coach. And maybe the best place to do that is where I already have these guys in place. And so I think there was a lot that probably went into it for him. But in the end, it was, that's pretty big news for Auburn, especially now as you start to kind of wade into this transfer portal world that will open up on January 2nd.
I don't think there's any doubt. Jason, we appreciate the time, man. Really appreciate you giving us a little bit of insight on this signing day, what's going to happen, what's going on there, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
Thanks, Cole. Appreciate it.
Jason Caldwell, inside the Auburn Tigers. Just wanted a quick update from a recruiting standpoint there around Auburn. We did ask you your thoughts on the Alex Golesh hire, 800-239-9569. You can text in 205-834-9450. Rodney Nabulsi coming up at 8 to talk a little bit of Georgia recruiting. Andy is on the Higginbotham hotline, wants to talk Auburn's hire. Andy, welcome in.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. I hope y'all are doing well.
Doing great, thanks.
Good. Listen, let's face it, fellas. I listen to your show just about every day. Y'all do a great job. And Cole, I've heard you say some things out of your mouth, like since 1950s, involving Auburn football the past 2 years. And let's face it, Auburn is at a low that nobody in your listening audience has probably ever experienced, except maybe grandparents, So Auburn has no way to go but up. And I think this is a great hire. I mean, I honestly believe this coach is going to have to come in and change the mindset, just like Pat Dye did back in the early 80s. And to get people, they believe, and the players believe, but getting people to buy back in, and I think they are. And with Durkin, let's face it, I think he is this time next year. Don't be surprised if his name comes up for some big head coaching jobs, because he's phenomenal. And I think him staying at Auburn was the best move he could make. I imagine there's some schools that reached out to him that wanted him bad, but can nobody build their resume better than he can? I think of all the coaches in the conference right now, I think DJ Durkin this time next year will be a hot name, a hot commodity. People's going to be wanting him. But just wanted to get your take on that, and I appreciate what y'all do, and enjoy listening to you every day.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate the call and appreciate the commentary there. I don't know what the real possibilities are going to be for DJ Durkin as a head coach moving forward. And I realize that some things that have taken place for a long time ago, but I also think that that's a lot of people have kind of ruled that out. How do you see that moving forward, John?
You've said several times before that you're not even entirely sure if Durkin even wants to be a head coach again. I think if he truly wanted to do that, I mean, I feel like he would have had the opportunity right now, given how fairly well the defense played.
I think this one's different. I think there are circumstances in life when we're not 100% sure we want something, and then the opportunity is presented to you, and you say, okay, yeah, I'll do, like,
right, yeah.
Like when I was in sales, a lot of guys never wanted to be sales manager. They just, well, number one, you could make more money as a rep, and they wanted to do that, and they just didn't want to. They didn't want the responsibility of or the organization or the admin part of it. And then certain people that would always say that, the opportunity would be put in front of them, like, hey, you can come do this, and this, and then they would run and they would go do that. So I think this opportunity realistically was presented to him as a possibility. I think he attacked it. I think he went after it. I think he wanted it. But I don't think that means he's going to be outwardly searching for just any head coaching opportunity moving forward. Tony wants to describe the hire, give us his thoughts. Welcome in, Tony. You got a couple minutes.
Yeah, man. Thanks for taking my call, guys. Good morning. But, yeah, man, I think it's a home run hire. I feel like Auburn could possibly have just hired a legend in the making, seeing how the age that he is, the potential for him to grow with Auburn for the next 10, 15, 20 years and still be a relatively young coach as far as coaching terms go, bringing an offensive identity to Auburn that Auburn hasn't had in years. So I love it, man. The offensive strategy, keeping Durkin was a big plus as far as player retention and continuity. Bringing in Cody Burns, I think it's a home run hire, and Auburn is set up to do nothing but succeed here in the future with Alex Golish and DJ Durkin tied to each other. I think it was, like I said, I think it was a great hire.
Appreciate that, Tony. There you go. Seems to be mostly positive feedback so far. We'll discuss it more next with some Georgia recruiting and Rodney Nabulsi on Jocks.